welcome. Today I want to share with you some pelvic relaxation, pelvic floor relaxation techniques that are really ideal for women who engage in high intensity, high levels of physical function and activity, who want to experience a more relaxed way of moving and being in their bodies. For women who experience pelvic pain and women who have pelvic organ prolapse or a tendency to really grip and hold through the deep core and the pelvic floor, and just really wanting to down train, relax and let go in this part of their body. So we start laying down on our backs. And you can let the knees fall into each other and then just step the feet slightly wider apart than the hips, or you can do this in a straight supine laying position. And from here we're just going to start with a little bit of belly breathing. So you can play around with a little bit of pelvic rocking first to find a more neutral pelvic position. And then once you find your neutral pelvic position, really simply one hand onto the lower belly and perhaps closing down your eyes if that helps you. And just begin with some belly breathing, directing the breath to the hand that rests on your belly, and perhaps in your mind's eye thinking around the area from the pubic bone at the front to the coccyx at the back and the sit bones on either side, and directing the breath all the way down to the pelvic floor, and not forcing it to open or bearing down or anything like that, just allowing the breath to be the focus and allowing the pelvic floor to relax with the breath. You stay with that breath for as long as feels good for you. Some women will find this quite challenging to relax through the lower abdomen and the pelvic floor, and that actually may be enough for you to begin just to relax and let go from in this part of your body. From there, and these are just ideas to work with. You don't have to do this series of movement, but you can if you like. Bring the feet to touch and the knees to fall wide. You may need to support under the knees with a block or a pillow, a folded towel or blanket, but just let the legs fall wide apart and allowing the inner thighs to feel just a relaxed openness. And you can, again here in this position, direct the breath into the lower belly, into the pelvic floor, and just allow that opening and that relaxation. And again, stay in that position for as long as feels good. Use your hands to help direct the knees back up. And then bring the legs almost into a sort of tabletop, then crunching the legs in, opening the knees wider, and then grabbing onto either the toes, the ankles, or closer down towards the shins, wherever feels good for you. And bringing yourself into a happy baby pose, a wide-legged position where you think about bringing the coccyx or the tailbone and drawing it down towards the ground beneath you. Relaxing again through the inner thighs, breathing all the way into the pelvic floor. And in this position, you can rock a little side to side. You might like to, bring the elbows towards the knees and pull the feet down towards you for a quite intense stretch. And you can just play with different positions, rocking the tailbone up and down off the floor, almost like a little pelvic rock. And I also like to circle my legs a little bit as well. So it's just playing with movement, playing with different positions. No right or wrong, as long as it doesn't feel too intense for you. Rocking the hips side to side as well feels really beautiful and really nice. So that can be a more intense pose. From this position, you can let the legs fall wide and the feet come apart, and using the hands just hugging over the knees, and again a gentle pressure, if you like, to pull the knees down towards the earth. And you can play again with some movement, gentle movement, nice and steady and slow, nothing too fast. You can play with a little bit of rocking of the tailbone and the pelvis, or you can choose just to stay in a very relaxed single position, guiding the breath into the lower abdomen. From there, you can bring the knees together using the hands to support, and you can hug them both in to the hips, into the chest rather, not the hips. And then use your hands to guide some little circles. And then the opposite direction. And if you feel, I do for example, with that, I start to really tense up and I can feel more tension rather than a relaxation. So then I can just take it to just one leg, circling in one direction, then just switching over to the opposite side, and then resting in one position, allowing the knee to hug in towards the chest. And really feeling a releasing and a letting go through this entire space of your body. Directing the breath. And then if you do notice tension, you can almost trace with your mind's eye, where does the tension feel like it begins and where does it end in your body? And then breathe into that space. And then as you breathe, just notice if the area of tension starts to dissipate or disperse, if it starts to get smaller, or it might actually just stay exactly the same. Don't try and shift it or, try and move through it and get past it. Often it's just being with and allowing yourself to become aware of the tension, and then asking yourself to just relax into it and be with it rather than trying to move past it, because that can sometimes create more tension. So just allowing yourself to be with it, breathe into it and relax. And then lastly, a really nice and unusual position, and sometimes it's nice to do this in standing as well, is just to grab the muscle and the tissue between the buttocks and actually hold your glutes and pulling them apart one side and the other. So you're getting some separation between the glutes and just holding that there and allowing that separation, that spaciousness, the relaxed sensation. And then when you're ready, letting go. And you can always finish with a little more belly breathing. Observing the changes in your body. And then this might be something that you come to regularly, might be something as a daily practice for you, or even just a practice to bring your awareness to this part of your body, which then you can then use to move through your day and almost check in with this part of yourself and just realize how much tension or how contracted you may be in this area of your body, and using that belly breathing, the relaxed sensation, those little stretches throughout the day to help just down train, give a little bit of relaxation to the pelvic floor, and help you to bring your awareness to this space in your body, which will then help you when you're moving throughout your day. You can simply check in and be like, oh, I just wonder how much tension am I holding here? And for a lot of women, they're quite surprised, even doing something for myself, like washing the dishes, for example. I would check in with my pelvic floor and just realize how tense and tight it was and holding things in, and it's just asking for that relaxation to happen, a little bit of breath going into the lower abdomen and allowing the deep core and the pelvic floor to kind of just do its thing, trusting that it will be okay. I hope that is helpful for you, and thank you for being here.